This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Hello and welcome to another edition of C2C Rankem. I'm the host, Big B, along with my co-host halfway around the world, Mr. Tim Hendricks. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. Excited. We've been away for a little bit. Well, we've been away from this show for a little bit, as I don't think many people know that we have a new show on Wednesday. But you know,
Yep. We've been away trying to get some things. Of course, main reason was personal stuff, but. Yeah, tomorrow will be our second episode of the coaches.
We figured do we change our own name again? The couch fantasy hour.
The couch fantasy hour. That's what it is. Couch. I couldn't remember if it was coach or couch. Couch fantasy hour. You get in and we'll break down the matchups fantasy wise. We'll break down the C2C league and get your players that you want to play or not play, but. Tonight is Rankem. Today is states. Tim was nice enough to give us 7 states because he forgot how to count. But hey, 2 of them were really boring, so 7 makes up for it. So, all right. So with that being said, first off, Tim, I don't know if your kids are in school yet, but our kids went back to school today. So Jackson started 6th grade today, so that was kind of a big moment for him. So,
my stepson starts next Wednesday.
All right, so congrats to all the parents who now have free time on their hands. So.
Exactly.
All right. With that being said, let's start with California. People that were born in there, and again, we'll put up the little disclaimer. Yes, we did our research, but again, we might miss somebody, or again, we might put somebody on there that we didn't really do our good research on and find out that he's born somewhere else. But we try to do people that were born from these states. So, all right. So, kick it off. How many do you think we're going to get?
Okay, I'll put the disclaimer out now. I've tripled up on one, doubled up on another, and technically doubled up on another. So if you've doubled up anywhere, we could possibly go 6. I don't know.
So this could be the infamous 10 for 5.
Right. I'm going to say it. I think we go 5.
Yeah, I would say, because I doubled up on one and I tripled up on one. I can see the infamous C2C Rankem 5 on this one. So maybe not in a row like we did a few weeks ago, but well, you kick it off.
The Immaculates are tough, especially when you've got states like California and the 2 of the other states that we've got. If I'm kind of got a curveball.
Okay.
I kind of threw a curveball out there. As we all know that I am the prime oos. And if you follow the squared circle for the WWE, that you know that there's a small group called the Bloodline. I'm a fan of the original Bloodline, which will in my list will come up again a little later in a little later in the States. But I like the originals. But when I first started watching shows on C2C, I was one of the originators of the yeet in the comment section of our shows. And I kind of think that's how I kind of got into doing the shows for the morning tailgate and other things. But I'm going to go with the Twins. They're from San Francisco, California. Originally born in San Francisco, California. I am going to take the Twins, Jimmy and Jay, the Usos.
Yeah, that was. I mean, now looking when you said that, yeah, I kind of missed them, and it really didn't jump off my head that they were born from California. But and last year I got to meet their dad, Rikishi, so that was a kind of cool one there. So, my number 5 is a triple up, 3 lovely ladies. I think
Starting to think we're not getting our 5 at this point.
on most young gentlemen's top 5 list, they were probably their crushes growing up. But I got Jessica Alba, Drew Barrymore, and Jennifer Anderson.
No, I don't. I'll be honest. No. All
right, number 4.
Number 4. There's, and this is my second double up. Technically, the Usos were a double up, but that's kind of cheating because they're twins. But we have a saying on our show. Not that one, not the phrase that pays, because I see you getting ready to pull the trigger on that, and you'd be wrong on this one. Either it's the phrase that pays, or you got to be first at something.
Okay.
And I figured since there's a specific day in Major League Baseball for the first of this in Major League Baseball, and I truthfully think there should be a national holiday for the other first, because in order for you to be the first Black person to play baseball, it takes a very special person.
Ooh.
And then in order to be the first American female into outer space, it takes another very special, important person. I think as we know, Major League Baseball retired the number 42 for one of my 4s. And
that one.
And there's really? And then I think both of my number 4s made heroes out of and made people look up to each one of them. My number 4A I kind of alluded to with Jackie Robinson, and my 4B is Sally Ride.
Okay. Yeah, like you said, first to something, and they well deserve that honor. My number 4, double up. Probably the most debatable. Well, probably 2 of the most debatable sport takes anybody could have. One revolving around a football player, the other one revolving around a baseball player. And with sports, it's always to have a good debate. The GOAT, the home run king. I got Tom Brady and Barry Bonds as number 4.
Is it possible? I'm going to go this way. Is it going to be possible that we may not get any?
There's a lot in California. I mean,
California sucked. I'm let everybody know that I started my homework this morning at 7:30, quarter to 8. I finished at 20 to 11. This was not an easy homework day. My number 3, I don't have Tom Brady, and I don't have Tom Brady, and I don't have Barry Bonds. I just don't. Barry Bonds for specific reasons, and Tom Brady because there's better. But my number 3, her and her husband had a what is it? What would they call it? A variety show back in the 70s. What her husband became a senator for the state of California, and then died died skiing because he hit a tree. But this woman, my wife loves this woman, but she didn't know that we were doing California, so can't be blamed for this. She can't be blamed for putting her on the list. But you know how many people, you know, you've got to be famous when you're known by one name. My number 3 is Cher.
All right. Well, I'll stay in the music world. And, you know, for those that follow our show or know me and Tim, know we met at a nightclub. And I do believe I played this song or one of his songs quite a bit, if not, you know, him and Dre and all those guys as I was a DJ. And my number 3 is probably the only guy in the world that, well, now it's legal, but at the time could get pulled over and have a blunt and not get arrested or ticketed because he's Snoop Dogg. And my number 3 is Snoop Dogg.
Mm-hmm. He's on my list, but not that high. Not high. Not that high up.
He's not the Riddle High.
He's not the he's the numerical. He's not the numerical high. He's the normal high. Well, I don't know. I don't go high by that.
Well, you're number 2.
My number 2 is a triple up.
Okay.
My number 2. One of my number 2s is one of your regrets on one of our earlier shows.
Ooh.
Yeah. I have both all 3 of these guys I think are best pure hitters. My one of my number 2s had the hitting streak for 56 games, and the small little link it has to me is it ended against the Cleveland Indians on my birthday on July 17th. The other, my mom worked in the hospital where he had passed away. And then there's just probably the best pure hitter in National League history. My number 2A is Joe DiMaggio. My number 2B is Ted Williams. And my number 2C is if anybody wants to make Brandon Big B Herrera blush, ask him who his top outfielders are in Major League Baseball history, and he cannot put my number 2C on the list, and that is one Tony Gwynn. Did you forget him again?
Yeah, we gotta stop doing this Tony list because no, I would. I mean, yeah. God, the site I was on too, I was just trying to figure out, and I even went back to California. I'm like, okay, did I miss anybody? I still scrolled through, still missed them.
I went on Wikipedia. That's what took me so long, because I was on Wikipedia.
Yeah, I was on Wikipedia. I'm like, okay, there's got to be a better website to look at this. So
it's not. It really isn't.
Yeah. So my number 2, we're going to the square circle. We're not going with the Twins, but we're going to go with their second cousin removed, I think, possibly. The boss, the final boss, Mr. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Oh, looks like Tim froze a little bit there.
Because that I'm around somewhere, but my computer is like real janky.
Yeah, there you go. Where'd you have Dwayne?
Number 14.
Over the Twins. The Twins are over. Okay.
I put the Twins there because, you know, I'm the Oos and Dwayne doesn't have Uso in his name. So
all right. You're number 1.
My number 1, we kind of tend to do this for some bloody reason, and it's going to show up that's this kind of category show is going to show up a whole heck of a lot on this list.
Maybe.
But my number 1 is the only president from the great state of California, because everybody thinks that Ronald Reagan is from California. He is not. My number 1 is Tricky Dick himself, Richard Nixon. Wow. You're going to go 0 for 5. Holy no. We didn't.
No, we did it. We did it because my mom would kill me if I did not put the singer on her list, on this list. And my mom actually saw her 3 times in a matter of like a month span. And that's one share.
I'm going to tell you this. I had Tom Hanks and Sean Penn at 6.
Wow.
Steve Jobs at 7, George Lucas at 8,
Wow, Lucas didn't make your list. Okay.
Snoop Dogg at 9. I had Sean Astin, who I met at 10, who I have an autograph of. Drew
Wow.
Barrymore at 11, who I also have an autograph of. Ben
Really?
Affleck, and then Leonardo DiCaprio, then Dwayne Johnson and Jack Black at 14.
Yeah, I had Jet Black, and like I said, I went through and saw some other names. I took Black off. Affleck, I thought he was from.
No, he's from. I thought so too, and then I went and double checked on Netflix or Netflix, yeah, because Netflix tells me tons of. I looked at Wikipedia and it said he was from California, and I'm like, he must have went to Massachusetts at a young age.
Oh, okay. I actually thought he was from Minnesota because I know Young's out with. Or is it Matt Damon from Minnesota?
Matt Damon.
Maybe it's Matt Damon, I think. So, all right. So let's move to Florida. For those that watch college football, you're some of those lost.
Don't worry. Don't for the Seminole fans going. Yeah, but we're not the Florida Gators. We didn't get our ass kicked by the Hurricanes.
Yeah. This one I might have a curveball. I did triple up. I did double up.
I tripled up. I'll tell you, I tripled up and I doubled up.
I'm gonna go 3. I think we're gonna get 3 somehow.
I think we'll get 3 too.
Yeah. All right, so I get to kick it off. So my number 5 is my triple up. One of them I will be meeting October 25th at MAW Grand Slam number 6, my third one. So I'm halfway. I'm at 50% of going to Grand Slams. So mine, and they're all in the square circle, of course. My one of them is part of the arguably top 5 tag teams. One of them is married to Mr. Brock Lesnar. And the other one is
funny thing
bombshell of some sort. I got Jim Neidhart, Sable, and Miss Kelly, who I will be meeting October 25th.
And the funny thing is, the first time I ever went to a WWF event, Sable was wrestling Mark Merrow.
Yep. Yeah, her ex.
Yeah.
All right, you're number 5.
Well, my number 5, which is really strange because I don't have that many people. Strange. I don't have that many people on my list, but I think, and I'm gonna make some people very, 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 very either upset or look at me very questionably. But I think probably the best pure dunker in NBA history. I absolutely love watching this guy dunk. Sometimes I don't like teams that he's necessarily been on. One of those guys I really wish that would have come to Milwaukee, but when you get drafted by the Toronto Raptors, you're kind of pretty much don't want to be stuck in a mid or a small market team like Milwaukee. And I completely get it. I think he retired 2 years ago. And to have the nickname of Vinsanity, I think you pretty much etched your names in many people's memories. My number 5 is Vince Carter. Next, you're going to tell me.
Oh, we have Vince Carter here for one game.
What's that?
What? Vince Carter played for Minnesota.
I think it was when he was traded and then he left.
Yeah, for one game. What the hell? Are you serious? I did not know Vince Carter was a Minnesota Timberwolves. I would never guess that.
You were looking. Yeah, you were checking on me to make sure that he lived in Florida.
Actually, no. I was just checking to see when he retired. Yeah, 4 years ago.
2020.
Yeah, but yeah, that guy had a career. Yeah, definitely.
The funny thing is, if you look at his career history, they don't even show Minnesota on the list in Netflix. Oh shit! What is up with me in Netflix today? Me and on what was it? What am I looking at? Wikipedia.
Yeah, but on his stats, when you Google him, it goes You what? Okay,
No,
maybe
it's not Memphis.
MN. No, it's MN. I don't know. Can't believe Google.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it going, doesn't say he played for Minnesota. I'm not going to say Netflix again. If that's the case, Netflix should really start thinking about sponsoring our show. If I keep repeating
I
it,
can't see it.
I'm on Wikipedia. And they don't have Minnesota on there.
Well, yeah, that's what I was just like. But I don't know. Yeah, unless it's a typo somewhere. But anyways, all right. So my number 4, we'll go back. Go to music world. I got a double up here. Rocker, I guess. And then I also have a country singer on here with one of my favorite songs. Wish I Could Have Been There. That's the name of the song. I got Fred Durst because he did it for the Nookie, and I got John Anderson.
Yeah, I saw John Anderson live. Okay, so I'm going to say this. I found a little more information of Minnesota of the Timberwolves and Vince Carter. He began his career in '99 with the Raptors in '99, where he played 50 games. He was then traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves and played a single game where he failed to register any stats aside from registering 1 minute of play time.
Wow.
He was then traded back to Toronto, where he continued the rest of his career. No, he didn't compete. So he basically went there his career. In '99, he was traded to the Timberwolves in '99.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Weird to me. Because there's no stats. He probably didn't record anything. So nobody knows that.
Yeah. All right. You're number 4.
You're my number 4. It's my triple up, and I kind of, two of these guys are former Florida Gators. One of these guys is a former. I know I could have went forever and a day on Florida Gators and Miami Hurricanes and Florida State, and I didn't. But one of my 4A is the all-time NFL leading career, whatever, for rushing. My 4B is probably the greatest coach that the University of Florida ever had, also a Heisman Trophy Award winner. And my number 4, to me, arguably is in the top 3 of middle linebackers of all time for the Baltimore Ravens. Won a couple Super Bowls with Baltimore. My number 4A is Emmitt Smith. My number 4B, who I am lucky to have an autograph of, is Steve Spurrier. And another person I have an autograph of, I wish I had met him in person, but I was lucky enough to pull a card of his. My number 4 is Ray Lewis.
Still boggled by that. Okay. My number 3. I'm trying to think when he was big. Mid-90s, I think it was. Big actor. It seemed like he was in a sports movie. Then he was in a action flicks and dramas. Matter of fact, what's that?
Go ahead.
I just watched the movie of his, a baseball movie, The Fan.
No, you're kidding.
And I got he was the center fielder for the Cleveland Indians in Major League. He was Blade. I'm trying to think of another role he played because I know there's one I'm missing.
He was in Tu Wong Fu.
Yep. Oh yeah, Tu Wong Fu. Yeah, that was a great one. And that is Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, this was the guy I had to look up to make sure that he was actually from Florida.
I had to look him up too. So,
all right. Well, It's the first time. I can't believe this is the guy you got me on. It's not C2C unless you're sniping. Mr. Blade himself. My number 3 is your number 3, and I was pleasantly surprised and absolutely shocked to see Wesley Snipes in Deadpool versus Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine coming back and redoing the Blade movie or Blade character, considering him and Ryan Reynolds did not get along well together on Blade Trinity. So I was absolutely pleasantly surprised.
All right. My number 2 is going to be my curveball here. I like this guy. His comedy routine, I don't know what it is. It's stupid nonsense, but yet I still think he's funny. He does a bit where he, at the time when he was famous, he looked like the Wendy's girl. So my number 2 is Carrot Top.
You did go Carrot Top. Oh my God, you did go Carrot Top. That shocked me. That was a little shocking. I wasn't expecting. I saw it and I went, golly, do I go Carrot Top or do I leave it alone?
All right, you're number 2.
My number 2. It's my double up.
Okay.
My 2B is married to a member of one of the married to somebody that was in my California list. I'm still waiting for her to be added in kind of as a valet type of thing to the original. And the other is a former Georgia Tech football player who Calvin Johnson said was the best athlete he has ever seen at the college level. And the screwed up thing is, I think this is one of those weird years for him, where his uncle and his father pass away within a month of each other. My number 2B is Naomi, and my number 2A is Liati Joe Anoy. And if you know anything about this, he is the original tribal chief. He is, and I'm going to say it, acknowledge me, he is Roman Reigns.
Oh, I miss Roman Reigns. Wow. All right. My number 1, I'm going to be surprised if you don't have him on here. But my number 1 is
surprise, folks.
former. Well, I'll start off because he has a CD out. He's actually one of the songs I like is he does a song with MC Hammer. He plays corner, and now he's the coach of the Colorado Bulldogs. Whose son?
He's the Colorado Buffaloes.
Buffalo. And that is one Mr. Primetime himself, Deion Sanders.
Yeah, you're gonna get ready to be surprised, folks.
All right.
My number 1 he did do music, and they now do his song, which is even funnier. Now they do his song at the University of Florida. So as Brandon's now figuring out, it's not Dion. My number 1 is Gainesville's very own Tom Petty.
Okay.
Be honest.
We're not doing so hot today.
I will be honest. I forgot Dion. I would have put him on instead. I would have put him on with instead of Ray Lewis. I'd have put Emmett, Steve, and Ray and Dion.
Well, yeah, when you started doing that, I'm almost like, man, okay, maybe he does have Dion up there. All right, let's go to the Potato State, Idaho.
Oh, good Lord. This one was.
I think I pulled a Tim Hendricks on Tim Hendricks here on this one. So.
Oh boy.
We'll see. So.
Holy smokes.
I got to go 2.
1,
Now I got to relook and what did I write down here?
Oh, there's nobody there. That's the problem. I'm looking at my list going, there is nobody in that state.
No,
I'm looking at 1, 2, 3. I think 3. If you pulled a Tim Hendricks, I'm going 3.
All right. I'm just looking at somebody here quick.
And the funny thing is, I was trying to remember, it was like a week ago, I was trying to remember the name of one of these people because I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
And then when I saw her name, I went, there it is. How did I forget that name?
Okay, where is the list I looked at? Because now I got to look and because I threw somebody on here scribbling. Of course, I don't have the best handwriting, guys. So
Yeah, I've seen your handwriting. It's atrocious.
yeah, it is.
You got the signature of a doctor.
Wait a minute here. Oh no, wrong state. So, you go ahead and start with your number 5.
My number 5 is a vice presidential candidate under John McCain, which I believe I think one or both of us had him on for Arizona, but I'm not quite sure. But was played brilliantly on Saturday Night Live by Tina Fey, which then they look almost identical. And this woman's from Idaho, but sounds like she's from Minnesota or northern Michigan or Wisconsin. But she is probably most well known during the presidential election that she could see Russia from her home, and when she was the governor of Alaska. My number 5 is Sarah Palin.
God damn, who did I write down here?
That's all right. You're good still. You're doing great. Yeah. You're doing amazing. Don't let anybody tell you different.
Yeah. I scribbled the note on the side. So I got my number 5 is a running back with football season starting right around the corner. I got Lions draftee back in 19.
Holy hell!
It was drafted by the Lions. I can't find the year, but Bobby Watkins.
Yeah, you brought out the weird stuff, boy. I didn't.
Well, that's not the one. That's not the one. That's not the one I got you on. Yeah, 1982. Played for the Lions and Dolphins. All right, you're number 4.
And the funny thing is, with my number 4, I found out she was born to the day 8 days after me.
Okay.
Which is even crazier because when you look at her, you go, and you've met her. Now I'm going to really blow your mind. You probably have her on the list, just knowing you. If it's somebody you met, it's probably you got on the list. Find out that she was born July 25th, 1975. I'm sorry, Tori, that I outed your birthday like that. But when I saw the picture of her and you and Jackson, I was a little jealous. And I'm a man who has met Shannon Elizabeth in Las Vegas, which is even more scary. But I remember her in Boy, I'm going to say this wrong. No, because she met Billy Kidman in WCW.
Yeah, she was there for a quick second, I think.
Quick second, and then she had that storyline with her dad, and I can't remember the other wrestler who wanted to marry her dad. Yeah. I want to say Daphne, and that's wrong.
Was it a Francine?
Francine. It was Francine. Yeah. I'm thinking it's Daphne. No, Daphne would have never. But my number 4 is Tori Wilson.
Yep, that card is authenticated too. So my number 4, this one is where I kind of get Tim here on this one because he would have normally did this one because he's a history guy. This person helped the Lewis and Clark expedition.
I didn't see it. You're right, but you're right.
And I know I'm going to mispronounce the name of the lovely lady, but Saskatchewan?
I didn't even see Sacagawea.
Sacagawea, yeah.
She's on the, and the funny thing is she's on the $1 coin.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you're number 3.
My number 3 is an alpine skier. We don't get them too many. Olympic gold medalist, Olympic silver medalist, gold the skier. I remember for the longest time it was her and who else was it? Tommy Moe was the big names going into the Winter Olympics, which hopefully I get to attend here in 2 years. But my number 3 is Peekaboo Street.
Okay. My number 3 will go in the biking world, and this will probably be the second biker that we've ever had on a list that I'm trying to think of. Same last name, but I don't think they're related. I could be wrong on that part, but I'm going with the biker list, Christina Armstrong.
I don't know if they're related. I don't know if she's related to Lance. I honestly didn't see the name, so.
Yeah. All right, you're number 2.
All right, my number 2. I'm going to be lucky enough to meet not my number 2, but a co-star of my number 2 from a series called Breaking Bad. I get to meet Giancarlo Esposito on October 19th. But he played alongside my number 2 in Breaking Bad, had a little brief appearance in Better Call Saul, and he voices a character on Netflix's series. Again, somehow we come back to Netflix. That my stepson Andrea is making me and his mother watch, called BoJack Horseman. He plays a character by the name of Todd Chavez. My number 2 is Aaron Paul.
So on the Christina one, because I looked her up, they're not related, but she often gets mistaken for because Armstrong's wife is his name Christine.
Jeez. Wow.
All right, my number 2, the phrase that pays. I have her at number 2. You had her at 5, I believe. Tori Wilson and 4. Like I said, that card I did pay an extra $10 to get it. A little sticker put on the back that said that yes, she actually did sign that card. So yes, Tori Wilson.
I'd give her $10. Put a little sticker on it too.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you're number 1.
My number 1. If this is not your number 1, we are going to have a long conversation. To me, probably one of the top 5 Minnesota Twins Washington Senators of all time. My dad. I'm hoping I can get this autographed picture sent back. Get to me. It has a picture of Willie Mays. It's a picture of Willie Mays. Hey, Mickey Mantle, both signed by Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle, but it's also signed by this other gentleman, one Harmon Killebrew.
That picture is yes.
And it's also a proof. It's a baseball card proof print where it's autographed by the.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So yeah, the phrase that pays, the homer pick, Harmon Killebrew. There's no second guessing that he was going to be my number 1 when I saw that he was on that list. So
like homer pick, come on, that was 1A. Like how is I screw up if I get that one right?
Yeah, no kidding. So we got 2. We're growing a little bit. So
oh boy.
Well, now we're going to West Virginia.
No, just Virginia.
Oh, Virginia. I'm sorry, Virginia.
We did West Virginia about 7 months ago when we started this state.
Yeah, that's right. Man, I can see 4 for 5, but I can also just see like a couple.
I'm looking at it. I'm going. I've got it. Okay, just so the people, if people are at home counting, I've got 2 double ups and a sextuple, which just means I've got 6 in one spot.
All right. Ooh, West Virginia, you got 6 in one spot here.
Virginia.
Virginia. I'm sorry, Virginia.
Virginia.
I'm going to go 3. I'm going to go
see.
3.
I'm going to go 4, just because I got my bases covered.
Okay. I kick it off. I'm going with an actor. I think I first saw him in Wayne's World. And I think, just seen him all over the place. It seems like he pops up in a lot of different movies, TV shows. I'm going with Rob Lowe.
Okay, at least it's Virginia. Did you say Utah or Virginia?
Virginia.
I gotta double check because I thought Rob Lowe was in Utah. I'm probably wrong. That's not too much of a shock to me, because I've been wrong a lot of times. Where is he? Oh, he credits couple therapy. That's cool.
Charlottesville.
No, yep, Virginia. Oh yeah, we don't talk about Charlottesville, especially what happened about 15 years ago. My number 5 is one of my double ups.
Okay.
I'm going into the squared circle. If everybody, I'm going to go with my 5B first. Was a tag team partner with a guy who's now, I think, Johnny Television over on TNA. I might be wrong on that.
Well, I know he did a little stint. I think he's still under contract with AEW though. Oh well,
then he's at AEW. I still think it's Johnny Television. He did a brief stint with Lucha Underground too. But my guy is the bald-headed guy that used to be with the Authority, and was a tag team partner with Mr. John Morrison and Melina, who seems to always get left out of everything. My other guy is a guy whose career was cut way too short. I would have loved to have seen what kind of push he would have gotten if he had not gotten debilitatingly injured in an accident. I think this guy would have been huge. I think this guy would have been amazing. The push, if we would have gotten into the WWF, would have been huge. We're going to go with my 5B first. My 5B is Joey Mercury. And my 5A is Magnum TA.
Ooh, good one. Good one on that one. My number 4, we're going to the world of music.
You're going to make me look. Did I have anybody in music on my list? No.
Yeah. Why can't I spell her name right? Yes, we're going into music. If you don't have her, I'm surprised because I won't be able to hear. Oh yeah, back in the day when me and my family would drive somewhere, we put this CD in or 8-track in.
I were talking about. I took her off the list.
My number 5 is Patsy Cline.
Took her off the list. I thought in my mind, I'm going, if he's going with the one I think it is, I took her off the list. Oh no!
Well, if you got no music on here, then we might not get any.
I have no music.
Okay.
Zero.
You're number 3.
My number 4 has.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
To me, has one of the greatest lines ever in an Adam Sandler movie, not given by Adam Sandler. It was in a movie called The Waterboy, where he makes and this brings me to my numbers. This brings me to my second point. Don't do drugs. He then turns around and plays the thing is, he plays an LT character in a movie called Any Given Sunday named Shark LaVey. And to me, it was basically, I think the director went out there, Martin Scorsese says, go out there and play yourself and we'll work around it. But everybody remember, to me, I think probably how many people consider this guy a tight defensive end or a linebacker? I think to me, probably the greatest outside linebacker to ever play. And most people, and if you're a Washington Redskins fan, you remember this guy for a completely different reason. He's the guy that decided to take your Super Bowl winning quarterback and break him and send him into retirement. My number 4 is the great number 56, Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, he's probably one of the first hybrid outside linebackers ends because I think he lined up at both.
Yeah, I think
So,
he D end and he linebacker, but he played down a lot too.
so my number 3, we're gonna go on to the sports world, but we're gonna go into the hardwood because they're gonna be starting up here in a couple months. And all I have to say is, I think the YouTube clip has him saying the word practice 11 times, I think it is, or something like that.
Like that.
That's one Mr. 76er, Allen Iverson.
I remember him as a Denver Nugget, but that's just me.
Yeah. All right, your
Well,
number 3.
my number 3 is half the phrase that pays because this is another double up. I'm going to give you Allen Iverson, but I'm also going to go with a guy who played basketball against Allen Iverson, but was also known to play football at a little town called Newport News, Virginia. But everybody remembers my number 2B is going to prison for dogfighting, but I still remember him for throwing a football out of the stadium as an Atlanta Falcon. My number 3B is Michael Vick.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I still like Michael Vick. I like those quarterbacks. My number 3, we're going back into the singing world. So we know Tim doesn't have this one on his list because he's already made that claim. I'm going with Mr. Vegas himself. I'm going Wayne Newton.
Yeah.
You're number 2.
My number 2, I'm going to the movie world. To me, this is one of those actresses that cannot do anything wrong. I'm putting her at number. I'm putting her at number 2, and can't put Tom Hanks up on California. You know, if Tom Hanks moved to Virginia, this might be a 2A 2B situation. But the first time I ever saw this woman was starring opposite Keanu Reeves in a movie called Speed. My number 2 is Sandra Bullock.
She is a good actress. No, I saw her on the list too. I like, Sandra Bullock. Yeah, she can't do no wrong. You're right. My number 1, if you go into the world of golf, do any history, grew up watching the game, I am going with I'm going to claim that he was the first black player to play golf or tennis. I'm sorry, tennis, not golf.
Oh, man, you did put him.
I am going with Mr. Arthur Ashe.
Yeah. I had him on the list.
Number 1.
My number 1 has 6 people on it.
Oh, jeez.
My number is pretty big. So my name, I'm just going to say the names. My number 1, I don't even know what letter it goes to 6. My first number 1 is Thomas Jefferson. My second number 1 is James Madison. My third number 1 is James Monroe. My fourth is Zachary Taylor. My fifth is John Tyler. And my sixth is the father of the United States, George Washington. I could have did all of it on just George on Virginia, and nobody else.
I think that's the first time we have a sixth tuplet or whatever it's called there.
Yeah.
So, we still only got one.
Still got one. Where did you? I'm going to ask this question. Where did you have Fran Tarkenton?
Honestly, I did not even see him.
Funny thing is, there's two former Minnesota Vikings on this list.
Yeah,
Percy Harvin and Percy Harvin and Fran Tarkenton. Then I saw Charles Haley. Then I saw Earl Hebner.
Earl Hebner is going to be at MAW again too this year. So
really,
yep. For the second time, he last year they brought him in and he roughed the which was. I'll have to find you the clip on there because he was rolling around with the ladies. ODB.
That's what he did. because that's what he did in the Attitude Era.
Yep, exactly. So, all right, so let's move over to Utah. This one,
I got a Tim Hendricks special on this one.
Ooh, all right. I probably got a curveball here. I doubled up on number 5 there. So
really, I didn't double it up all, so we're good.
I'll go 3.
Okay, I like your 3.
All right, well, kick it off.
All right, my number 5 is a person who is considered. We did a list a couple 3-4 weeks ago about the worst national anthems in sports history. Hers came up on there. I think number 3, if I'm not mistaken. You probably were smart and deleted the list off your computer, which I would probably agree with. She had her own TV show back in the 90s, which broke my heart when it went off the air. She's also the only person that I know that has a named TV series that she's not even a part of anymore. Which is
it's not even named after her now.
Yeah, they renamed it to what? The O'Connor, the Connors.
Yep.
But my number 5,
because of her comments she made after the first couple episodes came out.
Yeah. My number 5 is Roseanne Barr.
Forgot didn't even dawn on me. My number 5 is a brother-sister duo. You'll see them mostly. What's that?
There's a lot of brothers and sister in that one.
This one, though, if you watch Dancing with the Stars, you've seen them pretty much every season. One's a judge now, I think. One has turned more of an actress. She's played in the newer Footloose movie.
Really?
And that I'm going with Derek and Julianne Hough.
Oh, I thought you were going the other way. The other Utah family.
No,
Ooh. Nope, I guess not. My number 4. They made a movie about my number 4. And the funny thing is, he's a famous a bank robber. But everybody remembers, if you've watched the end of the movie, my number 4, where they sensationalized it, where he doesn't make it, but if most people know he does, he dies later. After, I believe he was played by, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say both names just to keep my bases covered. He was either played by Paul Newman or Robert Redford. Couldn't tell you which. In a movie called Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. My number 4 is Butch Cassidy.
All right.
That's my Tim Hendricks curveball of the day, folks.
Oh, no, I don't have that one. But my number 4, and I think we brought a couple of these people up before, but this one is a scientist, astronaut. I'm going to Dan Lind. I know we've had an astronaut on before.
We've had an astronaut. We've had Buzz Aldrin. I think we've had Buzz Aldrin on our list
a couple times, because if we always put it up too. If you tell the world's flight, he'll go or the moon landing was fake. That's what it was. So You're number 3.
My number 3, we're going to the hard court, because if I say that differently, we get censored and it's not fun. But he is the reason why Los Angeles and the Lakers are so popular. He's the reason why they're now called Showtime. It's because of this guy. They did a series, I think, on Apple TV called Showtime, where John C. Reilly portrays my number 3. Now his daughter, I believe, is the person who runs the team in LA. My number 3 is Dr. Jerry Buss.
All right. So my number 3, I believe this is the family you're talking about. So I'm going to cut right to the face. The brother and sister, Donnie and Marie Osmond.
That's the brother and sister. That's what I was thinking.
All right. You're number 2.
My number 2. Remember, I'm going to the gridiron. You have now thoroughly got confused because now you're going to think, who did I put at number 1? I'm going with a guy who is part of a named defense called the Fearsome Foursome. Next to a former Gator of Jack Youngblood, Rosie. I'm not going to say it because I might be wrong. Rosie Greer. No, Rosie Greer played for the Rams. But most people who don't watch football remember my number 2 for being in a TV series with Michael Landon. My number 2 in the TV series is called Little House on the Prairie. My wife knows who this guy is, which is even scarier because she watched Little House on the Prairie. Yes, even here in Italy, they watched Little House on the Prairie. My number 2 is Merlin Olsen.
Is that the bearded guy?
Yep.
They also played in
He didn't play. I know he didn't play in
what's that TV series?
Go ahead.
What the hell was that TV show?
He wasn't Highway to Heaven. He wasn't in Highway to Heaven. That was a different guy.
Oh,
no,
okay.
That was a different guy.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Okay. All right. Well, my number 2, the phrase that pays, is the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers, Dr. Jerry Buss. Your number 1.
My number 1. We're going back to the gridiron. He went to the university. He went to Brigham Young University as a quarterback. We're not going Jim McMahon, just so people know. And it's weird. He went and became. The funny thing is, most people don't understand that he is also a lawyer. And again, we're not going to go Chris Collinsworth because he went to Florida and became a lawyer. He was then drafted by. Oh God. Oh gosh, where did he get drafted? He was a gambler. He went to Memphis. If I'm not mistaken, he was drafted by Memphis of the USFL.
Okay.
And then was turned around and drafted by a team in Tampa Bay called the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then was traded to this team in San Francisco. And then turned around and became a Hall of Fame quarterback after winning Super Bowls as a backup to one Joe Montana, and then turned around and won one himself against probably is what considered the most lopsided, to me, one of the most absolutely dominating Super Bowls I've ever seen against the San Diego Chargers. Yes, back then they were the San Diego Chargers. But my number 1 is Steve Young.
Well, phrase that pays. I got him at number 1 too.
He was the LA Express. That's what it
was. Steve Young. Yeah, I remember watching that Super Bowl where I think it was Jerry Rice that was taking the monkey off his back. I think it was. There's a scene. There's a clip.
Yeah,
on the sideline.
No, it was. It
might have been a defensive player. I
think it was Bubba Paris, to be honest.
It might have been. So,
but yeah, I remember that.
So, all right. So let's move to the state that everything's big in, and this list could have probably been a big list. So,
I got a double up. I got a quadruple up. Another double up.
Exactly.
I got another double up. Every let's just say every spot has at least 2 or more in it.
All right, so we got a good chance for 5, but I don't think we will. Because I might have thrown in a slight little hittable curveball, but not that big of one. So I'll go 3.
Okay, I could 3 hittable curveball. Oof. Yeah, 3 sounds fair.
All right, I'm going with number 5. You see them probably no. I know he's played in other shows, but I just for some reason I can only think of Men in Black, and that's one Tommy Lee Jones. I know he played in another one with
He played
Judge.
in.
I
He
can't think of
played. He played with. He played The Fugitive with Warren with
not Fugitive.
Harrison
Yep.
Ford. He played U.S. Marshals with Wesley Snipes.
Yep.
He played Man of
I
the
knew-
House
Oh.
and old No Country for Old Men. He played a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, for some reason I was blanking on all those I saying them. Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones. You're number 5.
My number 5 is a double up because I've said I've got him doubled or quadrupled up in this thing. Much like your mom, if you didn't have Cher on your list, my number 5 would be kind of a blanking. And the funny thing is, both my 5A and 5B played in a movie together called Black Dog. Everybody remembers my 5B is his name is Robert Paulson in Fight Club, but he also played in Rocky Horror Picture Show. But mostly he is known to be a singer, rock singer from the 70s. My uncle loved listening to him. But my number 5A, and I think you have a family member that would agree with me on this.
That lives in this household.
Huh?
That lives in this household.
Yeah. And did you screw up? Is this a Tony Gwynn screw up?
Good thing she doesn't watch our shows.
Does she watch the show?
No.
Oh, thank
She
God
does
for
not
you.
watch it. Yeah.
Thank God for
Yeah.
you. Everybody else is going to realize you screwed up.
Nope.
My number 5B is Meatloaf. My 5A is from a small little movie outside of Black Dog. He's from a little small movie called Dirty Dancing. An even smaller movie called Roadhouse. And a really
another small movie, Ghost. I mean,
he was in Ghost, some small movie, The Outsiders.
Tu Wong Fu.
He was in Tu Wong Fu with Wesley Snipes. But my number 5 is the singer of a small song called "She's Like the Wind," which my brother and I have performed many times in karaoke. My number 5A is Patrick Swayze.
That would be a good karaoke song. That's Patrick Swayze. I did miss on that one. Because if he was not on there, I would have slid him at number 4. But I got tennis great Andy Roddick.
Andy Roddick.
You're number 4.
Oh, that's a good one. Andy Roddick. My number 4. My number 4. You kind of alluded to it about it earlier. If we, you kind of hoping that I would come back and start talking about when my family used to go on trips. And we always listened to old country and Western movies. And funny thing is, my one of them has been in a movie with Wesley Snipes. 2 of these men are part of the quad singers of the Highwaymen, and then my other one is a person who is in a little movie called Six Pack. If you've never seen it, watch it. It's brilliant. It's about where my number 6A is a race car driver, and he adopts 6 kids, and they become his pit crew in racing. But I'm a big guy. I've never been to one of his restaurants, so it's a little strange. And if you remember anything about my 4C, he's the singer. He's what they call the troubadour of a little TV show called The Dukes of Hazzard. My number 6A is Kenny Rogers. My did I say 6A? I meant 4A. 4A is Kenny Rogers. My 4B is Chris Christopherson, and my 4C is Waylon Jennings.
Kenny Rogers. I missed Kenny Rogers. Damn.
I won't tell anybody.
Oh, my number 3.
Dragon Viper might, now that we've seen him sneak into the show. And
we don't care what Dragon Viper says with his 4-inch vertical forehead.
Wait, he's got a 4-inch. Oh, I thought he said he had a 4-inch vertical. That's already vertical. That's a bigger vertical than I've got.
Yeah. My number 3, former president of the United States, former owner of the Texas Rangers. I'll say former, but I'm not positive. Houston.
Which one do you look at? Which one do you think it is?
W.
Is he a president? Was he born in Texas?
Okay, hold on here. I'm pretty sure he was. Let me see here. George W. Bush.
He was born in New Haven, Connecticut.
Well, what the heck here?
Because I know, because his dad's born in was born in Connecticut.
Okay.
Too.
Well, I guess my number 3 doesn't work then. Well, we'll put Patrick's. What's that?
Find yourself a new number 3.
Yeah. Well, then we'll put. I'll give you Patrick Swayze because he would have been on the list if I would have saw him. So we'll go Patrick.
Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze.
Why did he show up on?
Because he's from, but he's not born.
Yeah.
That's why he's not on my list, because I know. I paid it.
All right.
I paid attention.
You're number 2.
What 3 hours of homework does. Makes you pay attention. Yeah. My number 3. To me, I've much like Lucille Ball, I've got a 3A and a 3B, just so everybody knows. My 3A played a Miss Hannigan in the Annie movie back in the 80s, but she had a TV show for the longest time with her and Vicki Lawrence and Tim Conway and Harvey Korman. Then she turned around and did the last season of Better Call Saul. But my number 2B, I talk about Fight Club all I want. My 2B is an actor who I thought wasn't from Texas, which is really kind of, when I saw it, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. He did a little movie in the 90s, early 90s called The Three Amigos, known for doing a movie called The Pest. One of the original members of one of the early members of Saturday Night Live, and is right now on tour, I believe, with Martin Short. But he's doing a TV series on Disney. In Italy, it's on Disney Plus, called Murders in the Building with Martin Short and Selena Gomez. If you're not watching it, I highly suggest you watch it. It's a great show. My number 3A is Carol Burnett, and my 3B is Steve Martin.
Okay. I met Steve Martin. He was a pretty funny guy. Pretty down to earth too.
Yeah, he sounds like it.
Oh, that's a mother.
Yeah.
So he was on my list where I looked, and I'm like, okay, so I just didn't look that closely at the birthplace of George Washington. Whatever. All right, my number 2 is a guy again who kind of like Snoop Dogg could probably, be pulled over and not get arrested for what he does. And I went to his concert here in Minnesota a few years ago, and I said if I ever got backstage and he offered me a joint, that would be the first one I would smoke, because I don't do that stuff. But to say you turn down a joint from Willie Nelson would be just harmful. My number 2 is Willie Nelson.
No. No, because I could have had 3 of the 4 Highwaymen, and I didn't know that. No.
Yep. Abbott, Texas.
That
April 29th, 91 or 33. He's 91 now.
Oh my God! No.
Yeah, musical group, the Highwaymen.
No, I'm gonna look up Johnny Cash just to see if I completely be pissed off for the rest of the day.
Is that
That's
your
the fourth
Tony
one.
Gwynn?
That may be my Tony Gwynn. Johnny Cash. Where's Johnny Cash? Please tell me you're Arkansas. Thank you. At least I didn't miss all four of them. At least I didn't. All right. Since that was your wow. Holy smokes, that was your number two. Golly, my number two. I have four on my number two.
Oh, geez.
Squared circle number two. Known to, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think at one point all four of these wrestled each other in the WWE.
Okay.
And I believe all four of these used to wrestle at the Sportatorium in Texas.
All right.
Yeah,
there could have been a lot of wrestlers on this list.
Yeah, and I took four of them. I took the four biggest one, if that should tell you anything. My 2A created not one, but two catchphrases at the King of the Ring in a great state of Wisconsin, in Milwaukee. Funny thing is, I saw, if I'm not mistaken, I saw all three of these guys in Milwaukee at one point. I saw three of the four of these guys in Milwaukee. Another one I saw where my number two, my 2B was the enforcer and had a streak of his own until it was unceremoniously stopped by a guy from the state of Minnesota. And pretty soon here, it's going to sound like Minnesota's a theme because my number 2C died in Minnesota, and kind of heartbreaker. To me, probably one of the greater technical wrestlers in history to me. And then you've got the showstopper himself, Mr. WrestleMania. My number 2A is Stone Cold Steve Austin. My number 2B is Mark Calloway, The Undertaker. My number 3 is Latino Heat and Eddie Guerrero. And number 4 and my 2D is the showstopper, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Are you sure Undertaker's from Texas?
Yeah, he's from Houston. No, he's from Austin. He's from Austin. I had to double check myself, but I know he's living. I know he's got a house in Palatka with Michelle McCool.
Yeah. All right. My number one actor, funny guy. He's, speaking of catchphrases, he has one. Or maybe it's just the way he says it. For some reason, I can't think of what he says now. It just went off of my mind here. All right. That's what it is. Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, got him. He's on my list way down there with way down there near 10. 10. Right. Him and Woody Harrelson right next to each other. My number one. Well, you so nicely brought up presidents before.
Yeah.
Before. I'm going to give you two. Probably the greatest military general that became a president outside of George Washington and Ulysses S. Grant. And the other one had to replace a president after something that happened in Dallas, and became president in Dallas at an airport. My number 1A is Dwight Eisenhower, and my 1B is Lyndon B. Johnson.
All right. So we went 0 for 5.
Wow.
All right. With all those connections, we couldn't do one.
I took it. I had Dennis and Randy Quaid at 11.
Wow. All right. So let's go to Tennessee. This one, man.
1, 2, 3.
I had a couple, and then I crossed them off because I relooked at the list again. Hopefully I'm right.
I have 7 at 5.
Wow. Hey, you did too much. You did more homework now than you probably did in high school.
Honestly, I probably did more in college.
All right. Well, let's kick it off here. Let's.
I think we get. I honestly think we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5's still a possibility.
It is with all that, but all right, we'll kick it off here.
On my number 5, like I said, I've got 7. I've got, and except for one of these guys, they all have great nicknames.
All
We've got 2 nature boys. We've got a honky tonk. We've got a king of the mountain. We've got a king, and then we've got the viper. And I've met one of these. I've got, and I'll go in some weird order. I met the Hall of Famer of the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton. No, Midnight Express. No, it's Rock and Roll.
It's probably both, actually. I think they kind of.
Actually, I think it's both. You're right. I've got Jerry the King Lawler and his cousin, the Honky Tonky Man, as Santino Marella likes to call him. I've got the King of the Hill, King of the Mountain, JEFFJARRETT. I also have one Viper in Randy Orton.
Oh.
And I have 2 Nature Boys. I have Nature Boy Buddy Landell, and I have Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Oh.
Yeah, you're going to look it up. I know you are. Go ahead.
I thought he was born somewhere else.
I thought so too. That's why I looked him up.
And I know he's not. And everyone's going to say Minnesota. No, I knew he wasn't. He was born in Memphis, Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not realize that.
I didn't either. And I'm like, wow, didn't know that.
Yeah. All right, so we're at 5 because you took everybody. I got number 5. I don't have any wrestlers. I did have Orton on there, but I took him off because I rewrote my list. But my number 5 is probably the best narrator that is around in movies and TV shows and commercials, and I think if everybody could have somebody narrate their life, this would be the guy they would say. My number 5 is Morgan Freeman.
I like that one.
Number 4.
Who you've got on the list? I've got 2 singers. One singer was my dad's favorite female singer, and if my brother was watching, he said he's going to think that he tried to kill him during my sister's wedding reception to the song "Proud Mary." And to this day, if my dad was still alive, he'd have told him no because he tripped because he's a moron. His exact words, because we had this discussion as we were going to a Sunday night football game in Jacksonville, and he says, "No, I'm an idiot." Proceeded to think he got a concussion that night. And then we've got the godmother, to me, I believe is the godmother of soul. My number 4A is Aretha Franklin, and my 4B is Tina Turner.
Ooh. All right, my number 4. I'm trying to think of what I mean, is a singer, actor. I saw him in oh God, I can't think of that movie now. Soul Man. And that's one, Isaac Hayes.
I thought you were going to say Samuel Jackson. I'm like, are you kidding me? How did I miss Samuel Jackson? But I think Samuel's from Mississippi.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think we're going to have a tough time getting 5 at this point. My number 3, I'm going to the sports world. I am going to – both of these guys won their only championship in the great state of Wisconsin after they had played in other places. One, there's a joke going around that Mike Holmgren said that that Reggie had said if he was going to Green Bay, if God told him to go to Green Bay, and Mike Holmgren called him up and said, "Reggie, this is God, go to Green Bay." That's the running joke that Reggie had passed away far, far, far too quickly, I think, in a lot of people's eyes, and won his Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. And my other one had won his only NBA championship opposite of Kareem, Lou Alcindor. I'm going to get that right because if Kareem is watching, he wants to make sure that's separated properly. My number 3A is Oscar Robertson, and my 3B is Reggie White.
All right. Well, we'll do phrase that pays. I got number 3. You're number 4. The Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. Your number 2.
My number 2A is the phrase that pays. It's not C2C unless we're sniping. My number 2A is Morgan Freeman, but I have a 2B. I think she's an absolutely brilliant actress. The first time I ever saw this woman in a movie was a movie opposite James Caan in Misery, where she plays an obsessed fan, and absolutely brilliant. I don't think she has enough awards. Like I said, my 2A is Morgan Freeman, and my 2B is Kathy Bates.
All right. Phrase that pays, second time, or actually third time in a row. The Minister of Defense, Reggie White.
That was your number 1. My number 1. There was a time when I was growing up, and we used to go on these vacation trips and all these other things, and we always listened to country music, and I kind of brought up a duet partner of hers a little bit earlier. In a matter of fact, the last state when Mr. Kenny Rogers. But absolutely, I really wish I had gotten to see her. At this point, if I ever get back in the United States, she'll probably be long since dead. My number 1 is Dolly Parton.
Not even going to waste any time. Number 1, probably the only concert that if she comes to Minnesota, would want to see, or if I have to travel down to Tennessee and go to Dollywood to see her. But yes, Miss Dolly Parton. All right. So with that being said, we did 7 states today, so we won't do a list. But final thoughts there, Tim.
I'm never doing 7 states again, especially for California, Texas, and Virginia. Jeez. I was weird when I looked at the list and I counted, because I use OneNote on my computer, and I'm looking at it going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Holy smokes, there's 7. What did I do? And I'm thinking, well, forget this. I might as well do 7 because Brandon. I'm not going to take it off now because Brandon's done all 7 at this point. Thanks everybody for watching. Dragon Viper. Tune in tomorrow night at what be 10:30 my time, 3:30 your time, Big B, for the Couch Fantasy Hour. This isn't about trying to break into Hollywood. This is about fantasy football. If you guys have any questions about fantasy football or betting on football in general, go to a better professional, because we're pretty new at the betting on football part, but we'll give you our best. We'll give you our best guess for fantasy football.
Yep. Like always, just keep tuning in to C2C tomorrow. Like Tim said, the fantasy show will break down the games, who should play, who should not play. We'll break down our matchups in our coast to coast league and see who's going to win those and lose those. We all got money right now. Dragon Viper is going to go 0-15 or whatever. Because
okay, cool.
So with that being said, we will see everybody.
That's because Dragon Viper thinks that Jerry Rice is the best San Francisco quarterback.
Yes. So with that being said, we'll see you all next week on C2C Rankem. Have a good one.